Ready? That feels like a nice one. Got it. That's what I'm talking about, baby.
So I have made it to the small pond I'm gonna be fishing this evening, and I really don't have a lot of time, only about 2 hours to fish this evening. Now, something I've only seen a couple times on YouTube is the double fluke rig, or the name that I vastly prefer, the donkey rig. The donkey rig is a funny name. So today I'm gonna be throwing the double fluke rig or the donkey rig, and the rig is super simple. I have a 3-way swivel, and off the 3-way swivel I have my main line up here, and then I tied 2 leaders of different lengths. One is about 3 feet, the bottom one here. This one is about 2.5 feet. And then I just tied them with EWG hooks, weightless, and these are 7-inch Magnum flukes I have tied on. And by no means am I a professional at the donkey rig, but I have a few tips that'll help you out when using the donkey rig if you guys want to try it out. Always upsize your fluorocarbon. I'm using 20-pound fluorocarbon because I really want kind of a stiff leader to keep these baits separated. When I first tried the donkey rig, I really thought the baits would be working like this and just get tangled up all the time. And they do kind of work like this underneath the water. It's super cool, but they never get tangled up because I use this thick line. And even though I'm throwing weightless baits, I have that on a medium heavy rod. And this is a pretty stout rod. And that's because with those 2 Magnum flukes, that's a lot of plastic you're throwing out there. So I would definitely kind of beef up your rod to a medium heavy. Oh, that looks so cool. Now I'm fishing a smaller pond, so this won't really apply here, but if you bring the donkey rig to a lake where the fish will school up, this is a great bait to catch some schooling bass. Now if you want to, you can get away with just the normal size fluke from Zoom, but I always upsize when I can. And I've caught some decent sized fish in here, so I'll upsize these flukes to the Magnum just to see if I can get that bigger bite. You always can play around with the colors as well. You don't need to use 2 of the same colors. You could use 1 white and 1 green pumpkin. And since both of these are rigged weedless, I can throw this double fluke rig right into these weeds in front of me here, and I'm really not going to have an issue of getting them snagged up. And now, as I was getting to the pond, there were a couple people leaving this pond, and it's not very big. But honestly, I don't think they were using a double fluke rig. One of them had a spinnerbait tied on. So I am still hopeful that I'm going to be able to hook into a few fish, fishing behind 2 people. Ooh, there's just a fish right underneath that right there. Got him. Oh, dang it, that felt good. He took that back one. Man, I wish I had a better hook set though. That was completely my bad. Dang. That felt nice too. Now, as you guys can tell, there's a very obvious weed line around the outside edge of this pond. And I'm going to be casting as far as I can into the shallows because this pond is a little bit flooded. So I really want to get it deep into that grass. And as I'm pulling it over the edge of that weed line right there. Oh, I saw something blow up right here. And as I'm pulling it over the edge of that weed line right there, I let it pause and I let both the flukes just sink to the bottom very slowly. But I still think these fish are going to be plenty active. So as I'm pulling it across that weed top right there, ooh, got him. I was gonna say I'm just gonna let it sit, but this bass got it before I could say it. But just a little bass here, about a pounder. Make sure that hook is exposed in that bait. I want it as weedless as I can for the presentation that I'm doing today. But I'm gonna cast it back into that grass. Typically that grass is above the water, but since it's flooded, that might push the fish up pretty shallow. And I'm just gonna gently bring my bait across the top of those lily pads. And as I get to that weed edge, I'm just gonna let it sit. Let it sit to the bottom. Because off that weed edge is about 4 or 5 feet. So I wanna wait for these weightless baits to sink all the way down to the bottom, then give them a couple twitches. That's why you got 20-pound line. And really grind on them back in that grass. But getting bigger. That one is about 1.5 pounds right there. Honest with you guys, I've never really noticed a distinct pattern whether they hit the front one or the back one. That first bass hit the back one, and then that bass I just caught hit the front one. But I definitely think there is something to this bait rather than just using a single fluke, because as a fish is sitting behind cover and one of these flukes kind of pop out, if the bass isn't really in the mood to eat and kind of lethargic for whatever reason, they might just pass on that first one. But if that second one passes, that bass is gonna feel like I just can't pass up on 2 easy free meals, and it's gonna lash out at that second one in the back. Oh, ready? Got him. Oh yeah. That feels like a nice one. I hope something hits that other fluke while I'm reeling it in. That's a nice bass. Got it. That's what I'm talking about, baby. Ouch. Saw him wait for it. Just like I was talking about, he was sitting on this weed edge, and when I threw it right off of that weed edge, I saw him swirl out and come get it. All right, first nice bass for me this evening on the double fluke rig right here. All right, Dang, this one isn't even that long, but I'd say it's definitely 3 pounds how chunky it is. Like, look at that belly. This thing is definitely well fed. One thing nice about throwing this double fluke rig is that when you're kind of scooting this across the tops of the lily pads, you also can imitate not only bait fish, but 2 bullfrogs kind of chasing each other. And if the bass notice that one of these baits are chasing the other one, then that's a distracted bait, and a distracted bait is an easy meal. I'm retrieving the donkey rig. I pop my rod on slack line because that's really gonna get the flukes to work against each other and really kind of zigzag like that. So, as promised in my last video, I'm going to be doing the giveaway right now. About a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, I filmed an unboxing video where I showed you guys a couple limited edition lures, and I was going to give one away. And today's the video where I chose a lucky random winner, and I'm going to give this bait away. If you didn't win, don't worry about it. I actually already have the next giveaway ready to go. I just need to film it. And I'm going to be doing these every single month. So even if you don't win the next giveaway, there's going to be another giveaway after that. And all the giveaways are going to be Megabass limited edition baits. Now, they're not always going to be a Vision 110 Junior. It's just basically whatever I can get my hands on. Now, I will pick a Vision 110 or a Vision 110 Junior whenever I can get the chance. But sometimes I'm just not quick enough and I have to settle for a different lure. But it's always going to be that limited edition color. Today's lucky winner is Adam Butler. Because YouTube doesn't have a messaging system, you have to hit me up by my email, nateandersh93@gmail.com, or my Instagram at nateandersh. Now just send me your address or a P.O. box wherever you want me to send this bait, and I'll send it there. And if Adam Butler doesn't hit me up in about a week, then I'm just gonna pick another winner. Come out with videos every single week. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. Peace.